about it all on this podcast. I want you to jump on board. Let's go from that. Talk about the NBA championship game.
Yeah, the NBA Finals was last night. It went to Game 7.
I told you so.
Yes, you did.
Oklahoma City, complete team. A little bit erratic. Tell you, they learned a lot about playing at crunch time. You have to learn adversity. You have to learn about when it comes body bag time. You have to learn to fight through all the stuff. You have to learn to shoot critical free throws when you're exhausted. Oklahoma City got it done. Wasn't easy. They beat Indiana. Maybe they wouldn't have beaten Indiana if Tyrese Halliburton had not exploded his Achilles 7 minutes into the game, because Indiana really banged them around. Indiana disrupted the rhythm. In the first half of the game, Indiana went to the locker room, 48-47 halftime lead, having already lost Halliburton with the ruptured Achilles tendon. But then in the second half, Oklahoma City came out and they flipped the switch. And they started to push the tempo. And then they started to hit three-point shots, which they didn't in the first half. They were 4 for 18 on threes in the opening half of the game. And then slowly a 6-point lead became 13. And then at one point it became 22. Indiana was heaving threes at the end of the game, trying to find a way to climb back in, got it as low as 10, but they ran out of time. They ran out of hope. Oklahoma City's the real deal. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the real deal. Jalen Williams, a little streaky. You never know quite night to night what he can do. Their bench is really deep. I'm such an Alex Caruso fan.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of being a grinder and all that. Now that Chet Holmgren has made monstrous jumps in terms of productivity offensively, his ability to block shots, the athleticism to run the floor. I think we're going to see Oklahoma City be a good franchise for a chunk of years. Those kids have really learned on the job, and I think they learned a lot. I mean, Indiana punched them in the mouth. Indiana just took them in the back alley and said, "Do you want to fight?" But Indiana, after they lost their star, just wasn't the same team. So OKC is the real deal.
Yeah, they are the champions. They deserve it. They had a great year all the way through. But yeah, when Halliburton went down, he had 9 points like early on, hit 3 threes.
3 threes in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, so he was red hot, and I was thinking, hey, this could be pretty interesting. And then you could see his calf kind of twitch, you know, like a ripple in a rope or something. So that was like, oh, that's bad news. And he was just pounding the gym floor. He felt bad for him. And then once he was gone, I suddenly found myself sort of rooting for Indiana, you know, playing one man down, but OKC ran away with it. You talking about Caruso, you know, it's one of the things I enjoy doing when I'm watching the ball game is I'll just do a deep dive on a player, like, oh, where did he go to college? And, you know, this whole thing. And Caruso
he was a Laker.
Well, he was, yeah, you know, but the cool thing about Caruso and even the kid Dort, who was a starter for the Thunder, they were both like, you know, they were in the G League. They had the 2-way 10-day contract, you know, so they came up. I mean, they weren't the glamour star first round pick kind of guys, but Caruso, Texas A&M, you know, and he was all defense there in his conference and came in. And you're right. He was a really serviceable player for the Lakers, but he's great defensively. And by the way, he's married to like this really hot actress who was in the TV show Big Brother.
Okay.
You know, so it's fun things you can look up online while you're watching the game.
The thing that I like about him is he is gritty and he just has no fear. And he's become more of a complete basketball player. And the greatest phrase that has been attached to his resume, John, he made the comment during an interview, I think during the first round of the playoffs. Every day of my pro basketball life has been like Game 7, do or die.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he's out of the NBA and who knows where he goes. So, I mean, he was in the G League. But, boy, he is just a banger and a grinder. And now he's developed an outside shot, and he has no fear going into traffic into the lane, going to the basket, and as you say, at the other end of the floor, he's going to lean all over your ass, and he's going to push and shove. And he's
well, they were showing a highlight of one of the plays where, you know, the ball was kind of going out of bounds, and he was trying to, you know, block or screen, you know, the guy that was on him, and he fell down to his knees to create a roadblock so the guy couldn't get by. And he wears knee pads, you know, because he's used to that, to ready to play that kind of over the top defense. That, I mean, we know that. We see that at San Diego State. That's a hell of a way to, it's entertaining basketball when you got guys that can play both ends.
Yeah. I told you so. OKC.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, we did our NBA preview back in October. I told you so. Changing of the guard. And again, Boston got leveled by injuries. Cleveland, despite a 63-win season, got people hurt during the playoffs and just kind of ran out of steam. Houston, they got firepower, and they're going to have Kevin Durant. But Houston has to learn, as young as they were, had to learn how to play postseason, because that's a whole different animal. So there's still a lot of good basketball coming, I think, from people in the Eastern Conference. That's all things NBA.
I got one more comment about this, if I could, just to jump in.
Go ahead.
So this NBA Finals had kind of low ratings, right, compared to a lot of the other tournaments. Yeah. Okay, but it's interesting how now we've got 3 teams in Texas that are loaded, and they're going to draft high. They got a lot of talent, just traded for Kevin Durant in Houston. Then you got Oklahoma City, and then even Indiana. It's all these teams in the center part of America, where the teams that are on the coasts, which usually have been dominant, have taken a real step back.
Yeah, big boy basketball, big dollar basketball is no longer the pertinent storyline. Now it's all about athletes. How do you get them? How do you train them? How do you grow them? How do you make them superstars? Because I don't think, in all honesty, we can consider the Lakers an iconic franchise anymore. That's more mediocrity. Mm-hmm. And the Clippers have got so much age. Now, they could get better once they get salary cap space, and the owner's not afraid to spend, but they got so many old players, which means I don't understand the trade to try to get Jrue Holiday at age 34 from Boston to add him to the mix with Harden and the aging, though great, Kawhi Leonard. That doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, out here, and Golden State's got guys with 1,000 miles on them, led by Curry and Green. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's different. And obviously, New York's upside down in terms of its operation. Boston's got this significant injury problems. And Pat Riley's got a massive rebuild job there in South Florida with the Miami Heat.
And the 76ers, too, got head case of Embiid.
Yeah, head cases, and every one of their guys was hurt.
Right.
So, interesting. All right, we get to halftime.